Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Always glad to have this guy back. He's an author. He, of course, the president and chairman of Citizens United. Had him on plenty of times because he's got all the knowledge. It's David Bossie. David, how are you? Good to see you.
I am outstanding, Joe. Good to be here. We got a big week ahead of us. Big
week.
Man,
a huge week. We're going to have three different candidates on just about every day. Just got done talking to Carrie Lake out in Arizona. You know, as the
winner.
Go ahead.
Winner. She's a winner.
Well, I think without a doubt. I mean, she's up by 9 in one poll, 11 in another poll. But, David, you and I both know that conservatives will sit on their hands if they think we already have it in the bag. And they've got to go and vote. I mean, that's really that's of supreme importance here.
You are so right, Joe. We have to have every single conservative in America a like-minded independent. I don't care how conservative you are. We have to vote these people out of office. They are destroying our country. And we're only going, look, a lot of times we say just go vote. This year I need people to go vote, but we need to participate. We need to be poll watchers. We need to be poll workers.
Yeah.
We need to be in the room, because when we're in the room, they can't cheat. And that's going to be the only way. Look, we have to win. We have to win. This is a defining election of our lifetime. We love to say it's the most important. I think this is a defining election of our lifetime. Our children are going to look back at this 20, 30 years from now when they're our age, and they're going to say, why did my parents' generation fail? And we cannot allow that. We have to get a correction, a course correction right now. It's a great thing about the United States. Every 2 years, we get to change the direction of the ship. And Joe Biden has just created one crisis after the other. And we have to get a handle on this. So we have to win back the House and Senate.
Well, I'm with you. You got the president, the House and Senate are all radical liberals, radical leftists. I mean, not even close to being the blue dog Democrats of the 60s and 70s. These people have shown us for 2 years exactly what America looks like under their ability to sign laws that'll spend money to just fatten the pockets of people like the WEF, globalists, global warming idiots. But what we're seeing on the ground is what I believe is a tipping point. And let me make a comparison and tell me if you agree. In New York, Pataki won because there was a tipping point election. In New York, Giuliani won because it was a tipping point election. People didn't care about the typical left-right BS. They cared that they might die going on the subway today. They cared that their kids might be indoctrinated in school. They cared that the streets weren't safe and there was pornography everywhere. Rudy cleaned that up. Pataki cleaned that up. Are we seeing a similar thing today?
We certainly are. Some of these states still don't know they've hit rock bottom, which you can't get, you can't force people before they're ready. Just look at California.
Yeah.
We thought they hit rock bottom. They had the recall election a year ago, and he wins, and now he's going to win re-election. This is crazy. But in New York, it's a different thing. Crime is rampant. You're seeing it with your own eyes. Every single day, some tragedy is happening across New York City, across New York State, and they are tired of it. They're tired of the crime. They're tired of the immigration problem. They're tired of the inflation crisis across everything. Look, a lot of us are touched by inflation, but in Manhattan, when you have to go pay $10 for a gallon of milk, it gets your full and complete attention. I don't care what you have. So yeah, they're affected by everything. And we have a poll out just yesterday. Kellyanne Conway conducted for us here at Citizens United, and it shows that Hochul is at 46 and the great Lee Zeldin is at 45. Lee Zeldin is going to win this race. If Kathy Hochul's only at 46 1 week before the election, she's going to lose. It is going to be, and when we're watching this on election night and we see Herschel Walker win in Georgia and we see Lee Zeldin win in New York, those are telltale signs that it's going to be a big wave election.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's David Bossie. Go to citizensunited.org or davidbossie.com, I believe, is your website. Let's talk specifically about New York a little bit more. Hochul, the other day in the debate, was asked the question, would you do it again with these mandates that ended up firing people, to where the Supreme Court in New York even said, you can't do that. You've got to reinstate them, give them back pay. They're going to take it to the Court of Appeals. But she said, absolutely, I would. David, what am I missing here? Has she not gotten the memo that you could still get it and still spread it even if you're vaccinated? You aren't saving anybody by forcing people out of a job unless they took the jab. I mean, that's such a disconnect. Do you think people on both sides of the aisle in New York will hear that?
Of course, I think that she's losing because of her language.
Yeah.
You look at her language related to that, as well as the nursing home crisis. People's families died in these nurses. These are not disembodied, ideas.
Right.
These are human beings, moms and dads that died in these nursing homes, and you're not seeing her really have that connection with New Yorkers over that issue that drove her predecessor, the reason that she's even in office today, out of the governor's mansion. So Governor Cuomo left partly because of that.
Yeah. So she's on Al Sharpton's show the other day. The former FBI informant calls himself Reverend. And she decides to say that the crime wave is only happening in red states. It's not happening in blue states. And in fact, crime is down in New York City by 15%. Now, of course, murder is up 40% in New York City, if not higher. So with it being 15% lower, I'm not really impressed with the 25% increase because of the Democrat Eric Adams running that city. But of course, she ignored the fact that it could be a red state, but in Houston, Texas, there's a lot of crime because it's a blue city, or Austin, Texas, or fill in the blank, city in New York, where it's geographically a red state if you look at it from 30,000 feet, but New York City is a haven for crime. So do you think she really believes that Democrat policies haven't caused this? Alvin Bragg over there in Manhattan, this really isn't because of these people? This is really a red thing that crime is up? Fill me in. I mean, she thinks that message is going to work.
And she's just wrong. That's why the polling shows that she's in a dead heat. And she just shouldn't be, right? I mean, let's just acknowledge this is New York State. They haven't elected a Republican statewide since 1994. And it's shocking that she's even in this pot. But it's because these issues that we're talking about here transcend politics. They transcend party.
Right.
So people aren't looking at it through the lens of being a Democrat or Republican or independent. They're looking at it through the lens of, how do I protect my family, my husband, my wife, my children? How can I put them? My kids ride the subway to school. I ride the subway to work. It impacts people directly and daily in New York. If you're in New York City, crime is a daily occurrence for you. There used to be days, Rudy Giuliani, is just remembered as America's mayor because of 9/11. But before that, he got elected mayor to clean up the city. And that's what he did. And that's what he did. And he had such an amazing impact. When crime was rampant, we saw him just single-handedly take the city back.
All right, we've only got a few minutes left with David Bossie. David, I appreciate the knowledge as always. Let's very quickly go through some of these races. Mastriano against Shapiro. Can that happen?
It's really looking hard. It's really an uphill battle. I hope he can, but that's a tough race. The Democrat there is just so strong and well-financed. Unlike Fetterman, who's been a disaster as a candidate, and Dr. Oz, who's run an incredible race and well-financed. So I think it's going to be a ticket split there. I think.
But if you don't debate, shouldn't that be disqualifying? That should mean something to Pennsylvanians.
Sure. But look, it is going to be very difficult for him to overcome that. Okay. But I do think we win the Senate race there in Pennsylvania, definitely.
All right, so it looks like Oz, you're taking Oz over Fetterman. I agree with you. There was a big sea change when people saw how debilitated Fetterman really is in that debate that they had. Let's go to Georgia. Herschel Walker, we've had him on the show several times. He did debate with Warnock and did very, very well, I believe. Warnock is a horrible senator, not a reverend. He's a pro, kill the baby, right up until birth guy. I'm not really sure I understand why that's even close, but do you feel like I do that Herschel Walker could pull this off? They've tried every trick on him.
And they've gone over the top. What they've done, Joe, is just instead of really doing a very scientific, with a scalpel, they took a sledgehammer to Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
And it just ended up not mattering. Herschel Walker is going to beat Raphael Warnock and be helped by Governor Kemp. get across that finish line. So I hope that there's no runoff there and that Herschel wins it outright next week.
J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan. This one is closer than I think it should be, but Ryan has been exposed as a guy who wants to release 50% of the prison population should he get elected and should he have that opportunity. J.D. Vance is looking strong. How do you feel?
J.D. Vance is going to win this. It's going to be not as close as people think.
Okay.
Ohio is a very red state. Don't get me wrong. Ryan has run a very good race, very disciplined, very solid, well-financed, and he's run away from Joe Biden and the Biden policies, which is why he's made it even this far. But it doesn't matter. J.D. Vance is too strong, and the state is too Republican. He's going to win.
Could we get a couple of surprises? Can Smiley win in Washington?
I was just about to say, I think Smiley is our dark horse upset victory of the evening. It's going to be incredibly tight, but she is such a good candidate, working mother, nurse, veteran advocate for her husband and all vets. Just a tremendous story, tremendous woman, and is going to send home a 30-year career, corrupt left-wing politician in Patty Murray.
Two last quick ones with David Bossie. Go to davidbossie.com. Go to citizensunited.org. How about Alaska? Does Chewbacca beat Murkowski? Do we finally get that very, very wishy-washy Murkowski out of the Senate?
I certainly hope so. We're supporting her, Chewbacca, strongly. She is a tremendous candidate. I do think she wins. It's the ranked choice voting, so it makes it a little hinky.
Yeah.
But I do believe she wins. The good news about that race is Murkowski's terrible, but at least she is on the Republican side. So even if we don't win it, we don't lose the majority because of it.
Yeah, but I'd like to get somebody in there that Dianne Feinstein can push around,
totally
you know?
Agree. Completely agree.
All right, and the last one, you already said that Kari Lake is a winner. Of course, you know, they're calling it very close, although a couple of recent polls say 9% up, 11% up. Does she go away with this?
She's going to win. She's going to win and win big, in my opinion. I think Kari Lake is going to win, and she's going to help Blake Masters cross the finish line and win win that Senate race as well.
So you think they both win?
I do. I think we win. We're going to pick up 3 seats in the United States Senate. I think we go +3.
That's a beautiful. David, I know that you're busy. You got people calling you like crazy. I appreciate you giving me some time today. Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Sorry.
No, listen, it's perfectly fine. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. Let's stay in contact. I think that you're right on with this stuff. I think we might win more than 3 in the Senate. We might be 54. We'll see. David, I appreciate you.
Or you might be right if we win New Hampshire.
Exactly right. I think we have a chance to do that. Let's talk again soon, my brother. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, back after this. Stay right here.